Hi guys, welcome back, and hello if you are new. I hope all of you are having an amazing 2023 so far. It's been a minute since you've kind of heard from me. I know my first video of the year was an interview with Donald Tardy from Obituary, but I am back doing my normal reviews, and I'm kicking the year off with what I reckon is probably going to be one of my albums of the year already. I know it's January 13th, but I've been listening to this for quite a long time. 8 years on from the boats of the Glencarrig, the self-described Nordic doom metal pioneers that are AHAB have at last come up for air. However, we're only to delve back into the depths of the ocean below in the form of their brand new album, The Coral Tombs. For those unfamiliar with the band and their sound, they formed their foundations in the world of doom metal and very much exist in that. But this album, I think, extends a little bit further into that and at times moves into the world of avant-garde and even death metal. Each of their albums are based on novels, which in some way will have to do with the ocean or ocean myths. In the past, their concept albums have been revolving around Moby Dick, The Boats of the Glencarrig, which is where I first came across the band, and now on the Coral Tombs they're tackling the absolutely massive concept of Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So if you're not familiar with the story of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, this deals with kind of the two, I guess, main protagonists, which are Professor Aronnax and Captain Nemo aboard the mysterious ship the Nautilus, and kind of their various adventures that they have at the depths of the ocean. It's a fantastic book and one that I highly recommend. But in order to really appreciate AHAB, I think it's important to understand their MO, because for me, that's made me appreciate the album so much more. You can imagine the cavernous depths and this sort of suffocating darkness that this small vessel would be experiencing, and it heightens that sense of claustrophobia being literally at the bottom of the world. Of course, if you have a fantastic concept, you need the music to back it up, and thankfully, that's not a problem where AHAB are concerned, because the music on here is absolutely fantastic. Professor Aronnax's descent into the vast ocean starts with these incredibly aggressive blast beats, which I think is a really great way of grabbing your attention, and these kind of howling, pained vocals, which I think are from Ultha, which is a guest spot. But then the rest of the record is very much kind of like a slow burn affair with these absolutely humongous riffs behind it. There are moments of death metal on this album, however, as in Mobilis in Mobili, which reminded me of Gorguts and allows that slight sense of dissonance to kind of creep in. And I do think that the bass guitar really helps this, because whilst we've got these really anchored heavy riffs, the bass is kind of allowing for a little bit of mobility and a bit of fluidity, which is why I think maybe I drew the comparison with Gorguts, say. But I have to also say that the production really hammers home just how heavy the riffs are, and the double pedal just sounds really organic and like punchy. There's also quite a kaleidoscopic feel, a little bit psychedelic on the sea as a desert, with a coral tomb following very closely behind. All of this is underpinned by a sense of melancholy in this album, and it works excellently where guitars are concerned on the clean channels, with Agrisomnia reminding me of, you know, the classic sadness that I felt when I first listened to Opeth Damnation. I also think the stillness of this record is a real representation of the kind of sense of stasis and just how still the bottom of the ocean would be. It's done in a multitude of different angles, but I think it's really the sense of delay which is on the guitars and the reverb, I guess, that is put on the vocals that really add to that effect. And at the most of times, AHAB aren't really flashy with their lead work, but merely act as kind of breadcrumbs to lead you to the overall melody of what you're going to hear. And often they will kind of create a melody which will be the main sort of sound of the song, but then at times there's little references to melodies that you've heard at the beginning of the album, maybe sort of like nearer the end, which again creates that sort of like cyclical kind of feel to it. The leads also keep within the same key for pretty much throughout the album, which I think lends it to a sense of familiarity, even if you haven't really heard the album before. The performances put forward by the band singer is absolutely amazing as well. You know, it goes from these sort of low gurgles to these like bellowing highs, but never really sounds out of place and keeps within that sort of Leviathan sense of what they're going for. I think that what is most important about this record is that the band never lose sight of what the most important goal is, which is to keep the listener in this deep, dark trench for 60 plus minutes, which given people's attention span these days, I think is no small feat. It might have taken 8 years for the band to wash up on our shores once more, but with The Coral Tombs, the band have delivered a total masterpiece. An album that is steeped in atmosphere, never forgets its purpose, and most importantly for me, tells its story brilliantly. And just like the Jules Verne classic tale that it describes, I think that The Coral Tombs will become timeless in the world of doom metal. So, a hell of a release to kick off the year. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of AHAB, The Coral Tombs. It's out now. I've also got a really fantastic interview coming with Chris from the band. We sat down and talked all about the concept, the album, how they wrote it, everything. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that. Other than that, I will see you guys very, very soon for another album review. It's good to be back.